Seems like there's never enough time, but even a small amount of time is enough to write a 3-sentence story, which is more than can be said for the characters in this week's Fast Challenge. Okay, welcome back. This video is going to cover the middle and end of the one-day Fast Story Challenge. We'll be obviously discussing the middle and the end of our stories, each of them having one sentence because this is a 3-sentence story. As I mentioned last week, the middle is where the good stuff takes place. And because for this challenge I picked to do horror, that means I need to be able to, in one sentence, develop a sense that no matter what the hero's going to do, that they're doomed to fail, because that's the essence of horror, is the inability to succeed. No matter how you try, how hard you try, things just go against you. As a quick recap, last week I worked on the first sentence of my 3-sentence horror story about Fast, and the premise is that there is a teacher who's watching the kids on the playground, and an atomic bomb explodes in the downtown area. So now it's time to introduce the horror elements of the story. I need to be able to add a sense that there's not enough time, that she's got to make a decision. There's children everywhere. What is she going to do? And whatever she does, she has to do it super quick. And the thing about it is, this is such a great premise. With a longer story, I could do a lot with it, but this is limited to just a single sentence for the middle. And so I'll have to be careful with what I write to be able to get that, even that just one element, that one action, that one mystery, that one thought, that one dilemma, which goes into the middle of a story. In order to get that out there, I have to still be very compact and careful with my words. All right, so if we're ready, here's some music and an image for us to write by. How do you plan to use Fast as part of your story that takes place in the first 5 minutes of the apocalypse? Maybe your protagonist is attempting to outrace an incoming tidal wave. One of my all-time favorite scenes from a book involved a tidal wave and a surfer who rode the mother of all waves inland. One by one, his fellow surfers fell and they were swallowed by the wave, sure to be drowned. This character made it all the way to the mountains, which he then crashed into. But man, what a ride. Or maybe something has happened to your character whose life passing by too fast, unable to appreciate each individual moment and racing towards death from old age by the end of the day. Whatever it is, let's see the horror here as the character works to solve the problem, but is doomed to fail. Stop the music. Okay, I'm done with my second sentence. Hopefully you had some ideas on your own. Let me go ahead and read what I came up with. Seconds ticked by, too fast, as she placed children under her arms and rushed to the safety of the fallout shelter inside the school. Okay, and actually I changed it a little bit there. I had wanted to do the actual dilemma of who to choose, but instead I focused on the fact that there's too little time to save them all. And so that does change it, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move some of those elements into the third sentence. I already have that planned out. So my end will incorporate that decision making along with the outcome and the twist. I actually think that it works better. Those elements all work together as the third. Sometimes here's the thing. There's rules. And sometimes if you know those rules, you know when it's a good idea to break them. So in this case, I'm breaking that rule and including some of my middle elements in the third sentence. And the second sentence still works as a middle because it does have elements of the middle. I mean, it does have the indecision in a way. We know the pressure. We added the pressure. The tension is there, that there's incoming doom, and she has to act quick. So we definitely have middle of story elements associated with it. I'm just adding some more at the end. Once again, we're dealing with an end of the story. And at the end of the story, you need to be able to resolve any questions or problems that have been introduced previously in the story. Now, I've got a solution, an ending for my story. It's not a happy one, but then again, this is horror. So, what do you expect from me, right? And generally, a lot of my horror does not end in a happy way. Okay, endings work best, in my opinion, if you give the reader something different than what they expected. So one of the tricks that you can do is you're writing and you come to the ending, you come to the third sentence in a 3-sentence story, and it's like, what are they going to expect? What are my fans, my readers, going to think I'm going to do? Or what that most other writers would do in this situation. All right, think of that and maybe do the opposite. I mean, if there is a way to do the exact opposite, or something that's just so totally to one side that they're going to, when they read it, they're going to go like, oh, wow, I did not see that coming. That's the kind of reaction you'd like to get from a story in a lot of cases. I mean, it should be satisfying and it should make sense for it. I mean, so don't do something crazy Monty Python style where everything's going along and then suddenly the world doesn't make sense anymore because you went a direction that makes no sense for the story and isn't necessarily satisfying. Okay, so 2 ideas had come to my mind when I'm thinking about what to do with the ending for this. And so the first is that the teacher is so conflicted about who she saves that she decides she's not going to save anyone. And she sits down with the children and sings them a song or tells them a story. Something that gives her final seconds in the world meaning with the people that she loves and the people that she cares for. And that could be very touching, and it's a lovely idea, but I did not decide to go with that. Instead, what I've decided is that she desperately grabs up children, and she can't make up her mind. And in the end, that ends up getting her and all of the children killed. Yeah, I know. Bad, Randy. Such a sad ending. But that's the way I'm going to go. Still, let's put up some writing music to get you in the mood, and let's work on those last sentences. Okay, so as I said, my story's going to have a tragic ending. Yeah, I know, it's mean of me. However, the plus side of that is my readers never know what to expect. An occasional tragic ending for a story or a character makes sure that my readers take my moments of tension seriously, because they don't know if the character is going to suffer or triumph. It could be either. Is your story going to end happy? Or maybe it ends in a way that makes the reader think about the situation you wrote about. Whatever it is, it should be an ending that makes you excited that you thought it up. Stop the music. All right, so here is my third sentence. She grabbed Tommy, who smiled all the time. Susan, who had the best grades. Debbie, who always helped her after school. Slowed by the weight of the children, she nearly made it to the cafeteria door when the blast hit. All right, so that's my end. All right, and did you expect that? I mean, if you were reading it, you went through the second sentence, do you expect that third sentence to go that direction? Or do you expect maybe that she makes it? Okay, and then most of all, did this story reflect the idea of fast? Okay, in my mind, it does in some way. That doom, that atomic blast is coming super, super fast. She's got to move fast or fail, and then she doesn't move fast enough, and her and all the children die. I'm going to go ahead and post my second and third sentences in the comments sections. I hope that you will do the same. Give every one of us a chance to read what you're thinking. Also, I'll add a few comments to see what I feel worked really well, and maybe some suggestions on how it might work better. All right. And I am also going to read the entire fast story together so you get a sense of how, in just 3 sentences, you really can tell a mini story. During recess, Mrs. Goodhart watched over the children playing when an atomic bomb destroyed the downtown area. Seconds ticked by too fast as she placed children under her arms and rushed to the safety of the fallout shelter inside the school. She grabbed Tommy, who smiled all the time, Susan, who had the best grades, Debbie, who always helped her after school. Slowed by the weight of the children, she nearly made it to the cafeteria door when the blast hit. All right. And can you see, when you read that all together, it fits as a story. It really does move forward as a story. And I love that these 3-sentence stories, you can do that. They're small. They don't take a huge amount of time. And you can still enjoy the wonderful feeling of creating a story, right? And work out new ideas. And these often can lead to a much longer story. I can tell you that several of the 3-sentence stories I've written over the years, I have developed into full-blown short stories. A couple of them had potential for being novel-length stories as well. All right, so that's the end of this challenge. And like I said before, please please comment, please contribute by letting us look at your story and so we can compare them and so that we can enjoy them. Just really trust me. If you do this, you're going to have so much fun with it. And you guys are going to be asking me to start doing some 3-sentence story challenges every week. I mean, I just really expect that would be the case. If you get in and you actually try the challenge and you find out how fun it is, you're going to want more. All right. Until next time, later.